Success is a word that echoes across centuries, yet very few people have been able to define it in a way that endures. Among those rare voices, Napoleon Hill stands tall. He was not born into privilege, nor did he inherit wealth. Instead, he carved his philosophy out of hardship, failure, and an unshakable curiosity about why some people triumph while others fall behind. His book, Think and Grow Rich, remains one of the most widely read self-help books in history. But behind the pages lies a man whose life was marked by struggle, sacrifice, and an almost obsessive pursuit of the truth about success. Napoleon Hill was born on the 26th of October, 1883, in the rugged mountains of Pound, Virginia. His family lived in poverty, surviving in a one-room cabin. The environment was harsh, opportunities were scarce, and education was considered a luxury. These humble beginnings gave him first-hand knowledge of what it meant to grow up with little hope of upward mobility. Tragedy struck early when his mother passed away. Young Hill, filled with anger and confusion, became a rebellious child. But fate intervened when his stepmother, Martha, joined the family. Unlike others, she believed Napoleon was capable of greatness. She gave him books, encouraged him to write, and insisted that he could rise above his circumstances. Her influence changed the direction of his life. Hill developed a passion for writing and dreamed of becoming a lawyer. He briefly pursued law at Georgetown University but dropped out when money ran out. This disappointment could have crushed him, but instead, it redirected his path toward journalism, a field that would connect him to some of the most influential people of the era. As a young reporter, Hill covered stories of business leaders and inventors. He quickly realized that many of them shared certain traits: confidence, persistence, and bold visions of the future. This observation lit a fire inside him. Could there be universal laws that govern success, just as natural laws governed physics? In 1908, Hill received the assignment that changed his life: to interview Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate and one of the wealthiest men alive. What was supposed to be a brief interview turned into a 3-day conversation. Carnegie, impressed by Hill's curiosity, presented him with a challenge: dedicate his life to discovering the principles of success by interviewing great achievers. Carnegie promised no financial reward. What he offered was access a golden key to meet leaders, inventors, and thinkers. Hill accepted. Without realizing it, he had just stepped onto a path that would consume more than 20 years of his life. For the next 2 decades, Hill interviewed over 500 figures: Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, Henry Ford, John D. Rockefeller, Theodore Roosevelt, and countless others. Each conversation added a piece to the puzzle. He noticed patterns, habits, beliefs, and attitudes that appeared again and again. Hill lived in near poverty during this period. He often worked odd jobs to survive while conducting his research. Friends thought he was foolish, chasing a dream with no promise of success. But Hill believed he was building something bigger than himself, a philosophy that could guide ordinary people to extraordinary heights. Among the most influential lessons came from Edison. The inventor emphasized relentless experimentation and the refusal to give up, even after thousands of failures. From Ford, Hill learned about vision, how an idea can move industries when pursued with persistence. From Roosevelt, he observed the power of courage and charisma in leadership. Hill identified key principles such as definiteness of purpose, a clear, focused goal; faith, the unwavering belief in one's vision; and persistence, the refusal to surrender when obstacles arise. These ideas became the pillars of his philosophy. One of Hill's most revolutionary concepts was the Mastermind Alliance, the idea that no great achievement happens alone. By surrounding yourself with others who share your vision and energy, you create a collective intelligence more powerful than any individual effort. He also introduced the principle of autosuggestion. By repeatedly affirming goals and visualizing success, people could reprogram their subconscious minds, aligning their inner world with their external ambitions. To Hill, The mind was both the source of limitation and the ultimate tool for liberation. He argued that thoughts, once charged with emotion and backed by action, had the power to transform reality. In 1928, he published The Law of Success, a multi-volume course that outlined 16 lessons distilled from his years of interviews. Though not a mainstream hit, it laid the groundwork for his later masterpiece. In 1937, during the depths of the Great Depression, Hill released Think and Grow Rich. The timing was perfect. Millions of Americans, desperate for hope and direction, embraced the book. It became an instant bestseller. Within its pages, Hill distilled his principles into practical steps. He emphasized desire as the starting point of achievement, specialized knowledge as a key asset, and decision-making as a skill that separated dreamers from doers. The book wasn't just about making money. It was about building a resilient, disciplined mind. Readers discovered that by changing their thinking, they could change their lives. Over time, Think and Grow Rich sold tens of millions of copies worldwide. It was translated into dozens of languages and became a manual not just for entrepreneurs, but for anyone seeking personal transformation. Business leaders, athletes, and politicians cited Hill's work as a cornerstone of their success. The book became a silent mentor for generations of dreamers who might never meet Hill in person, yet felt his influence in every page. Hill's life, however, remained turbulent. He experienced failed marriages, financial ruin, and periods of obscurity. Critics accused him of exaggerating his connections, while others doubted his methods. But Hill never abandoned his mission. He reminded his followers that setbacks were not signs of permanent failure, but stepping stones toward growth. His own struggles became living proof of the very lessons he taught. In lectures, he often said, "Every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit." To Hill, even the darkest hours contained hidden opportunities. As he aged, Hill remained a tireless teacher. He collaborated with businessman W. Clement Stone, further spreading his message of positive mental attitude. Together, they reinforced the idea that mindset shapes destiny. When Hill passed away in 1970, he left behind not just books, but a movement. His ideas became the foundation for the self-help industry, influencing countless authors, coaches, and speakers. Today, Think and Grow Rich continues to sell, proving its timeless appeal. In a world filled with change, Hill's principles remain relevant. Set a clear goal. Believe in yourself. Persist despite failure. And surround yourself with allies. Napoleon Hill's journey from a poor mountain boy to a global thought leader is a reminder that greatness does not come from circumstances, but from conviction. His life embodies the very philosophy he preached. His famous quote still resonates: "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." Those words have inspired millions to take the first step toward their dreams. Napoleon Hill's story reminds us that success is not reserved for the lucky or the privileged. It belongs to anyone who dares to dream, commits to action, and refuses to quit. The question is, will you take that first step today